Alright, so today is kind of like my deload or less volume day. I'm just doing some accessory stuff and also some small muscle groups, so like my abs as well as a little bit of arms, since it's not going to be as taxing on my CNS. This is going to be like my first video back since using my other arm. My other arm's like a lot better now since my previous injury. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link like right on one of these sides. I think it's this side, and you guys can check it out. I think I partially tore my bicep tendon, but it's gotten a lot better. So we're gonna be actually hitting arms with this arm today, which feels absolutely amazing. Only gonna take like 1 scoop of pre-workout because it's not as intense. It's only just abs, calves, and arms. So pretty much just get right into it. After that, I'll explain a little bit more about abs, since I've never done a video like that. Thought it was a good idea and topic to make a concrete title and thumbnail, as well as obviously information for you guys. So hopefully my left bicep feels good. It's been feeling good overall. Clean up the evidence, just like Brad. Let me give a rundown of what I'm gonna do today. So we've been creating kind of like an outline for our own training, just so that we're able to periodize stuff and actually figure out, like, have a structure to our programming and stuff, which I know a lot of people have trouble with. If they don't have structure, they have nothing to stick to or hold them accountable. But today we're hitting one of our workouts that we developed. Pretty simple, not a lot of cable stuff, since we don't have like a whole bunch of cables and shit. So it's gonna be barbell curls, dumbbell curls, then hammer curls, tricep push downs we're supposed to do with the straight bar, but I may switch that out for like an overhead extension. And then dumbbell skull crushers, tricep kickbacks, and then we're burning out with push-ups. A lot of just free weights and without having to use a lot of cables and machines. So if you're at home and you have just dumbbells or barbells, then you can literally do this stuff. It's good to go back to the basics. A lot of times people go too far ahead of themselves and start working with cables and crazy machines when they don't even know how to connect properly with their arms, delts, shoulders, hamstrings, whatever it may be.
Man, I went from a bag to a bag to a bag. I remember me and mama used to ride the cab. Pull up at the lot, no more lease, we paying cash. Show up to a crib, hand the keys to a jag.
Arm feels pretty good. So usually with my arms training, I do a lot of progressive overload, increase the weight each set, and get more intense each exercise. I find that's just the best way to get a good connection with your biceps or your whatever muscle group you're working. It's sort of something I've always done. Kind of get yourself in a space where you know the technique and you're able to properly execute. And if you're going too heavy right off the base, one, you're gonna burn out and fatigue. Like, you should only be doing like 1 to 2 working sets per exercise, really, where you're working like within 2 to 3 or even 1 to 2 reps of failure, and then 1 set or 2 sets of failure. If you do like all 5, then you're just gonna burn out really easily, and you're not gonna be able to get through the workout or even get through the exercise. So what I like to do is start with my lightest weight, progressively overload, do like 2, maybe even like max 3 sets with my top weight, and that'll be working more close to failure.
Show up to a crib, hand the keys to a jag. That's that light work, flexing so much it hurt. Used to rock hand-me-downs, now Versace down my shirt. I remember them days we couldn't wait for the first. Finally made me a meal, now we eating off the verse. Yeah. Tell me what's more.
Probably could have forced like 1 or 2 more reps, but since it's only like my 3rd set, let's go harder, a little bit heavier on the next set. 25 probably on each side, and then I'll just work to absolute failure for those last 2.
The game dying, so I treat it like a nurse. It's hard work, I put God first. Not speaking truth is the way I reimburse. Cause I went from a bag to a bag to a bag. I remember me and mama used to ride the cab. Pull up at the lot, no more lease, we paying cash. Show up to a crib, hand the keys to a jag. That's that light work, flexing so much it hurt. Used to rock hand-me-downs, now Versace down my shirt. I remember them days we couldn't wait for the first. Finally made me a meal, now we eating off the verse.
Okay, drop set. It's the first time I've done like straight bar barbell curls in a while. Usually just do easy bar, but straight bar feels better because you actually supinate.
That's ISO.
Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse. Ball it up, I'm with the gang, we taking shots off the rebound. All my posters say now, I've been humble too long.
Dumbbell curls. Do you think I should do standing or seated?
We seated.
Seated? So I'll do dumbbell seated and then I'll do dumbbell hammer right after. I'm only gonna do 4 sets of this. We'll do like 15 reps each.
No time, put a candle on it, had to tell them they could blow my lights, camera, action, ayy, shows.
I'm smoking that dope from Edmond. We the new meth in Redmond. We ain't real blood, but we brethren. Run up a check and it's pending. She talking my news, what send them? The fam, you a dead man. Jesus, peace on my pendant. And we still independent. ISO, yeah, we trending. Watch what you say, don't offend them. They keeping it real, they commend them. People like get your wife pregnant, but I ain't trying to be dependent. I need money, never ending. I'm talking 100%. I need the owner, you rent it.
Whoa, step in the spotty and watch how they panic. Yeah, we the duo, you know we dynamic. When we outside, we be stopping the traffic.
I think my peak got better because I've just been focusing on just squeezing my peak, so peak's better. Never mind, still small.
See it, I like it, yeah, I'm gon' cop that. When we on top, how you on top that? Nah, you ain't got nothing on us. I'm steady calling your bluff. Pass me the split, need me a puff. You don't want smoke, tell them that's tough. Yeah. Heard them.
2 or 3 more reps with my right side since my left one's still recovering. So I'm probably gonna do 4 sets of hammer curls. Maybe 3, I'll see how I feel. For triceps, I'm gonna do a superset instead of doing them all separate so we can get through this faster. So I'm gonna do overhead extension, superset with dumbbell skull crushers. And then I'm gonna do tricep kickback, superset with push-ups. And then each of them, I'm just gonna do 3 sets of 15 and then 3 sets of max reps. One done. Probably do less rest on this as well, just so I can burn out. Hard to supinate fully when your arms are pumped. So I'm probably gonna do incline skull crushers. Hard when your triceps just get full, so especially the overhead because it's so far of a stretch.
Letting you go, I was just letting you know. I know the weather is cold, but you on your own. I ain't no regular Joe, you should've left me alone. I'm in the zone, I'm where the predators roam. We at the Senate in Rome, and I'm on the throne. This ain't no regular poem, this ain't that regular tone, no. Do you follow me, baby? Can you see what I have? Do you like what you see? Do I follow your path? I don't know if I like you, I just know that you bad. You driving me crazy, you could drive in that cab. Hop out. If you don't like it, you gotta hop out. Always been a player, never dropped out. Rather cop the necklace before I cop.
Oh, that's good for arms. Okay, so first exercise I'm gonna do for my abs. I usually don't do anything crazy complicated. Even this is is a little bit more complicated than what I usually do, which is normally just crunches or sit-ups or even just contractions with vacuums. But this is definitely good for hitting your entire core. We're actually gonna do a hanging knee raise, but what a lot of people tend to do is just swing from their hip flexors. So all the movements coming from the hip flexor, all the tension's going there rather than going on the lower, mid, the entire abdominals. So what I'm gonna do is instead of swinging my knees, I'm gonna initiate, crunch slightly, and then the movement is slightly coming from my upper body as well as my knees. So I'm really squeezing my abs. I'm not just letting my hip flexors take over. And I'll usually do like maybe 3 sets of max reps for each thing. Obviously abs are involved and core is involved in a lot of other movements. So abs training is not my #1 priority, especially if I'm not going into a competition or something like that. If I were to, obviously I'd be training them more intensively, but with things like abs and calves, you can train them pretty much like every other day. So like abs, then calves, then abs and calves, and just flip back and forth. And then if they're exhausted, take a rest day obviously on your other rest day. And yeah, what I'm gonna do is initiate slightly, crunch my core down. I can squeeze out slightly, but initiate slightly and then pull from there. Squeeze, stretch. And I'll usually just do like 3 sets of like around 15 to 20 reps. So last thing with this movement, if you do want to make it a little bit more difficult or it's too easy for you, or if you want to work in kind of like a lower rep range with more load, obviously abs work in the exact same way as other muscle groups do, adding more load by gravity. So if I go bent knee, it's going to be less weight rather than going straight leg. So if I try to keep my legs as straight as possible, raise up to around parallel and keep that crunch, is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it may sacrifice some amount of reps. So that can be a way that you can shift your volume ranges for abs. I know it can be difficult sometimes, but switching that up and having that variation similar to what you would with other muscle groups definitely helps with growth and development of your abs. Even then, I still feel my hip flexors getting engaged. Generally speaking, I do still like the bend knee one better, but it's good to vary it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm on the floor now, but we're gonna just do a normal crunch. Depending on your goals, if you're doing bodybuilding versus just trying to build core strength, I wouldn't say this is the best for building actual core strength, but as far as building muscle in your abdominals and building like definition, deep cut lines and things like that, doing a more like contraction-based movement or isolation-based movement rather than using all your stabilizers to build like a thick, dense core, rather than just getting the detail in. All I'm gonna do is just a normal crunch, very short range of motion, not moving from my hips at all, not moving from my lower back or taking tension off by doing a full setup. Hands slightly behind my head, not pulling on my neck, just keeping me tight here. And I'm just breathing in, stretch. Breathing all the way out and crunching as hard as I can. And that slight upper back arch just to get the contraction. Key here is focus on your breathing. So on the way up or on the stretch, big deep breath, almost like you're doing a vacuum. Hard abdominal contraction, squeeze for a second. Breathe all the way out. So even though I'm only doing like a contraction-based movement, it's still super exhausting on your abs. And rather than just doing like reps on reps on reps, I'm just squeezing as if I'm doing like an ab and thigh or like a most muscular posing or something. And then obviously that in turn helps with mind muscle connection as well. So keep it simple and just really build that mind muscle connection so that you can squeeze each portion of your abdominals. You know, when you're hitting certain poses, like if you're hitting a side chest, you want to be able to squeeze your obliques as hard as you can. Or if you're doing like a most muscular, you want to be able to squeeze the front of your abs and keep your obliques tight. So building that mind muscle connection, especially in bodybuilding, is so important.